Today on Doomed! Uncovered. An ICE prosecutor is leading a secret online life, and you'll never believe what it is. Well, scratch that. You could probably guess, honestly, what this ICE prosecutor's been doing online using an anonymous account. But the details behind it all and how he was uncovered are incredible. And we're going to go through it all today on Doomed with Matt Binder. And let me pull up my guest, well, myself too, me and my guest, onto the show right now so you can see us all on the stream. Hold on one second, and there we go. Joining me now, he is a journalist from Texas, and this piece was with the Texas Observer, Stephen Monacelli. Stephen, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
It is a pleasure to have you back on this show. I think we last spoke a few years ago when you went to that college campus and confronted Steven Crowder, which was incredible in and of itself. And now you're back on to discuss this incredible, really incredible story. Like I said up top, it's not surprising to see what someone who works for ICE is doing, I guess, on their spare time under the veil of anonymity, excuse me. But I think like everything combined, and also the details and how you figured out who which account belonged to this guy are pretty incredible. So this piece is really great. Everyone should check it out. It's linked in the description below this live stream, and also it'll be in the details for the podcast version of the show that'll go up shortly after we discuss this. The piece is called ICE Prosecutor in Dallas Runs White Supremacist X Account. So, Stephen, why don't you first tell us when did you notice something was up with I'm not sure what came first, the chicken or the egg, this specific ICE prosecutor or the account itself?
It's a great question, and I'll start just by saying that since we last spoke, Steven Crowder's now divorced and I'm engaged, so that's pretty fun.
I'm gonna assume that your meeting I think almost 3 years ago now, that was the crossroads. That's when
you could say that. Yeah, it's like a point in time when something special converged and the waves overlapped. So
there was a fork in the road, and you both diverged.
Yeah, so here we are. And to get directly to your question, so it was the account itself. So this is an account named Glomar Responder, which, for context, a Glomar response is when you get can neither confirm nor deny response from like a law enforcement agency. So that's kind of just a bit of a joke in his name, that this guy worked for law enforcement agencies like Border Patrol and now ICE, and had made that his username. And so his account was the thing that first drew our attention, because not only did he have, I don't know exactly how many followers he had at the time when it was first noticed, but he has over 17,000 followers now. So he's, significant-ish, certainly not a tiny nobody. And had been posting
in those circles, like there are a few accounts that have like hundreds of thousands,
sure,
huge, but like he would be considered in like the top probably like 1 or 2% of like white supremacist accounts,
like a white supremacist influencer, you could say. And the account was all anonymous, had been around since like 2012, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So long time poster. Love of the game, I think, really drove this poster for sure. Like, they're addicted to posting in a sense. And the big break was that they had made a few posts about their disappointment with a lawsuit against the federal government by federal employees over the vaccination mandate being dismissed, which led us to finding some other posts in which they had straight up said, I am party to a lawsuit in which I had to get a blood test to prove that they had natural COVID immunity in order to make that argument. And in fact, we found those lawsuit documents, and lo and behold, in those documents, there was a narrow set of names to start cross-checking, as well as one, particular argument that they had to take this blood test to get these antibody, to prove that they had antibodies to COVID and a natural immunity. And that, and furthermore, that the poster Gloma responder had said that their immunity was somehow better than the vaccination immunity. That's at least what they said. And that a similar argument was made in court. So from there, we had a very limited list of names to then compare a large number of biographical details that had been revealed over the course of over a decade by this poster, this anonymous account, including things like where they had gone to college, previous employment at places like Border Patrol or in the Marines, where they had previously worked as a lawyer, you name it, describing the color of their wife's hair, a bunch of things that could then be cross-checked and confirmed to match against what we could verify about this particular ICE prosecutor, whose name is James Rodden. And he works for ICE in the Dallas area, in the Dallas Immigration Court, where he represents the government in hearings that can decide whether people are deported or not.
I can't imagine how his personal feelings and ideology could possibly interfere with his job as a.
Wait, well, we've like barely scratched the surface on that. So, like, what has this guy been posting, right?
Right.
Because, in this day and age, some people might say, you say everything is racist.
Right. Everyone's a Nazi. You call everybody a Nazi, right?
Sure, right.
Just because Elon Musk is sing-hailing on stage over and over again, you're just going to call him a Nazi. I mean, how dare you?
Right. And, in some circles, that line of, argument has some purchase. But I think these posts make it pretty clear that this is not like a question of subjective interpretation. This is a pretty clear-cut case of it is what it is. So
these posts can't be deciphered as "my heart goes out to you."
No. So, like, here's one quote: "America is a white nation founded by whites. Our country should favor us." Another one: "All blacks are foreign to my people. Dumb fuck." A post about, quote, "freedom of association hasn't existed in this country since 1964 at the absolute latest," which they further clarified in a follow-up post, specifically saying that they were referring to the Civil Rights Act of 1964, just in case anyone was confused about what that would mean. As well as this lovely little nugget: "Fascists solve communist problems. Get your insults right. Retard." Sorry for saying that, it's a quote. And then he says, "I'm not a commie, I'm a fascist." As well as other things like migrants are all criminals. And this is, I think, the most jarring one as it specifically relates to his work. Quote: "Nobody is proposing feeding migrants into tree shredders yet. Give it a few more weeks at this level of invasion, and that will be the moderate position." We also reported today in a follow-up article that notes that 3 congressmen have since submitted letters to either ICE or DHS calling for investigation and swift discipline, should that be warranted.
Right.
And in that,
think it's warranted? I'm not sure. I mean, honestly,
I'm not the judge.
I don't know if like discipline is even like, this is a guy who's clearly got a deep-rooted belief system. And
Sure.
You can't do the job. This is a job where you can't do it. Yeah.
Discipline could be anything from a slap on the wrist to being fired or, what have you. So the umbrella is pretty big there. But, what I do want to note that this person has also posted, quote, "based Gott min uns," alongside an image and quote from Adolf Hitler. And if you're unfamiliar with what based means, which I don't know why you would be watching this show if you're unfamiliar with what that means, it's praise. And then Gott min uns is God is with us. Also, he also called out Elon Musk and attacked him for allegedly ruining his country by ending apartheid. And the reason that Elon Musk lives here is because of anti-racism. So that was an interesting one. But long story short, this is someone who has apparently praised Hitler, has said that ending apartheid ruined a country, and a bunch of other pretty clear-cut examples of overt racism, overt xenophobia, overt white supremacy.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, no one's expecting like ICE to be filled with like the social justice woke wing of the federal government.
Sure.
But like this is like there are Republicans, there are right wingers, conservatives, whatever you want to call them, who are certainly anti-immigration, who probably are not as far as this guy.
Well,
Like,
right.
yeah.
I've been told, I can't name names, but I've been told by multiple people who work in and around the immigration court and either lawyer positions or others, that there are some other people who work for the ICE OPLA office, which is the Office of the Principal Legal Advisor, who they would have actually suspected have been the people to have run this account because of their views that are a little more outspoken. But at the same time, they said that those people would probably draw the line well before apparent praise of Adolf Hitler. So there's
Right.
flavors of racism, or there's flavors of prejudice.
Right. It's like
Some
Baskin
are
Robbins over there. Yeah. There's
some
like
are more
30
normalized than others, right?
31 different types of racists working for ICE. And this guy's
Right.
probably like the I don't know, like the what's the what's the craziest no, Rocky Road's good. What's the craziest Baskin Robbins flavor? I don't know. That's him.
I haven't been there in a long time. I don't want to impugn Baskin Robbins by associating them with this, but at the
Right.
same time, like it is so over the top that it's almost incredible. Like it almost, like, in the sense of not being credible, not in the sense of wow, this is insane. But it is in fact the case. And I mean, I saw the guy you had mentioned, him using his spare time. I saw the guy in a courtroom scrolling Twitter
Right.
on his phone and drafting a post. So even on the time that he is supposed to be working, this person was posting, and that corresponds with, if you just
Thi-
look at his posting history, he's definitely doing it during the workday.
This was probably the most incredible, like I guess, like I could say visual. Like I was picturing like this could be in like a movie. This how you're writing. You wrote about this scene in the report where you are in the courtroom. I guess scoping the guy out because you're writing this to see, to confirm what you've been uncovering, and please describe like how you're seeing him like go on his phone, and then like I'm guessing you're like refreshing the Twitter account's page and
So
seeing the post pop up as he goes
yeah,
on his phone each time.
it's a great question. So one of the things that we wanted to make sure of is we were pretty confident we had the right guy at the point in time that I'm now going to the immigration court hearings and observing them, and observing him in particular. And the goal was to do one of two things, if not both things, which was to, one, confirm that the anonymous account is not tweeting at times that it would be impossible for this account to be tweeting if it were being run by him. So I was in the courtroom where I'm not allowed to use my phone, had to be off, can't record anything, taking down timestamps of any time this man touched his phone,
Oh,
being like, he touched his phone at these times. And then my research partner, Kyle Phelan, big props to him, who really couldn't have done this without him. There's so much to look into. He was watching the Twitter feed and noting when that was happening. And then we would compare and make sure that there weren't retweets, there weren't other things that were happening at times that, were impossible to have happened. And so then we started to notice not only was that not happening, but that in fact there were posts that were showing up that were corresponding with the times that I had written down of when he was touching his phone. So I started going to more hearings, and eventually something happened that I could have never predicted or never, even anticipated, really, which is that I was sitting behind the guy in a pretty small room. So these immigration courtrooms are not large. They're not like big criminal courtrooms you see in the movies. They're very small. They have maybe two benches, on each side of the room where people can sit in the audience. and wait to either go up to the table and, have their hearing or just observe. And so I was within about 6 feet of the guy. I was sitting at the front bench right behind him to the point where I could see over his left shoulder. I could clearly see what was on his computer screen, which he was smart enough to not use his computer to post and to look at Twitter. But on one occasion, well, actually, it was more than one occasion, but I saw him pull up his phone and then open the Twitter app. And unfortunately, I use it too much to not know what it looks like.
Right.
Like I know what that looks like. And immediately, I start writing down exactly when it's happening. I even wrote down, he does not know that I'm watching him. And he starts drafting a post. I can see the little PFP at the top left next to the drafts.
Oh, that's perfect.
I was within 6 feet, and the colors matched, the general look of it matched with the profile picture that we were, expecting it to be. And then at 1:14 p.m., I write down, this man's drafting a post. I can't believe it. And then I get out of the courtroom and check, and 1:15 p.m., the post appeared. So that was it for us. That was like the 0.1% thing that we needed to be at 100%. But up until that point in time, we had gotten so many things to line up that it seemed like a statistical impossibility for this to be a coincidence, right? Like It would have been insane that it would have been a coincidence. And it truly felt like, I couldn't have asked for a better thing. So it almost felt like it was being scripted from on up above. As some of the QAnon JFK loving people that have been in Dallas have said, it was like they're in a movie.
Right. Enjoy the show. Right.
Enjoy the show. Right. Right. Exactly.
So how you wrote about it in the report, I could visualize it. And I guess I forgot that you can't, in a lot of courtrooms, you can't bring your phone in. But like the timestamp thing is basically the same sort of thing. I was envisioning because it's a crazy sort of thing for someone to be on their phone, you being able to see them write something, and then them not know that it's them in this anonymous account. And as every time they go on their phone, a post goes up or a retweet goes up, that's and the guy had no clue that you were there to observe him, which is,
oh yeah, and I made sure to even pop in the elevator with the guy at one point in time because I wanted to get a good read on exactly how tall I thought he was, because he had posted about his height. I wanted to get a close look at his watch because he had posted about watches he wears and his cufflinks and all those little details that we needed in order to make sure that we were right. Because for a situation like this where we didn't have, like a leaked email that tied this person specifically to a specific account, we had to kind of go above and beyond to really confirm everything.
Right. And then, you were able to confirm, like, a lot of these guys, they don't realize, and, it doesn't even matter if they do realize, because they just can't help themselves. They'll never stop because they think they're protected, just by, they think they're being careful. They share so much because it's an addiction to be posting on here. Like, you had, I know you said you did all these, things like the going in the elevator with him to get a read on his height and checking out his watch because he posts about watches. But you were also able, and I'm assuming you didn't play with his dog and take his wife out on a date, but you were able to able to compare and contrast from photos he had posted of his dog and his wife on his personal pages with the wife and dog he described in his anonymous Twitter account.
It is very, very, I don't want to say surprising because I've seen it so much at this point. It's not surprising, but it is astonishing to me that some people will think that they're being clever about their operational or informational security. And we had even quoted one post about how he said, I'll just pull it up here. It's just so ironic. I have to read it. So at one point,
gotta hear this one.
One point in time, he had been posting about how he might be up for a position that would require Senate confirmation. and this, that, and the other. And August of last year, he said, quote, "If you're reading my Anon Twitter account, some personal details may be misdirection."
And it wasn't.
I mean, the bit about the federal appointment and the Senate hearing and this, that, and the other, we couldn't confirm any of that. And we have no idea if that was just bluster, because people lie on the internet for clout.
That to me sounds like, someone somewhere said something to him in passing and he took it seriously or something like that. Like that's what how I would read it. Yeah.
Sure. And people, when they're anonymous like this, they'll inflate their own ego. They'll kind of, gloss over some of the details, make themselves seem like they're more of a badass than they actually are. That's nothing new. No one should be surprised that people lie on the internet. But at the same time, this guy left so many breadcrumbs. He had gotten so comfortable with this double life, I guess, that he didn't realize how much he was putting out on the table.
So, what has, I'm assuming ICE has not provided any sort of details or statement to you. Did they give you anything?
Well, surprisingly, we got a statement that said they are investigating to see if this account operator is indeed their employee and that they hold their employees to a high standard, but they have not confirmed nor denied whether he is under investigation, whether he's been put on administrative leave, whether there's anything that's changed. But what we can say for sure is that 3 congressmen, as I said earlier, have sent these letters demanding an investigation and discipline if necessary. There have been a few hearings where he was scheduled to be this week where he was not present. There's another lawyer from ICE there. So I think something has changed. The exact nature of that change is still a little unclear.
Right. Jeez, I was telling you before we went live how you had been you recently a couple months ago had I think it was a few. I'm not sure if it was in one piece or a few pieces.
4. There's one piece in December that had 4.
Right.
Neo-Nazi accounts.
We don't have to get in detail because each one of these I'm sure could be their own episode. But we were able to uncover 4 other anonymous neo-Nazi accounts online. What would you say is the big I guess the biggest similarity between them all once you find out who's behind it? They obviously all share these beliefs, but in terms of what you uncover about them as the actual person.
Well, all of them are, of the 5 that we're referring to here, all of them are basically white collar professionals.
Right.
I mean, one of them is a construction engineering guy.
Yeah. If so he's not the one.
Is it blue collar? Is it white collar? It's at the very least, it's a little more elevated blue collar.
Is he the managerial guy who's telling the construction workers where to go? Because
Yeah, it might be a construction manager of sorts. I mean, he works. He when we reported, he was employed at a naval installation.
Yeah.
We are still waiting on that investigation to conclude and to see what happens there. But yeah, all 4 of those guys plus the one I just identified, so all 5 were, either lawyers or worked in finance or worked in marketing or had worked previously for an aerospace company. One was working as this engineering and construction manager for the Navy. So they're all normal people who were part of their communities that were, educated to a good degree. They weren't, thugs that necessarily had violent criminal records or anything like that. I
actually think people nowadays probably more so think of a stereotypical actual blue collar sort of white, probably, Southern or Midwestern type male, who works hard labor job or something. But it's these guys who are just actually not affected by, immigrants, legal or undocumented in any way whatsoever, really.
I mean, they're not
Yeah,
directly being
right.
displaced economically,
Exactly. Yeah.
if that even really is like a
A thing,
thing.
right? Yeah.
That's not the
They
case for
can't they
them.
can't even misinterpret it as like, what some guys coming across the border is going to take your financial analyst position at Morgan Stanley or something. Like, yeah, it's not happening.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, they're all like, white, or in, I guess, white Hispanic, and in one instance, men who, for whatever reasons, have all come to this kind of similar set of ideas and ideology, and got radicalized to this at some point in time.
Right.
Um, it's not that they all have the exact same story, but they've all come to a similar place. And as you said, like, they're not necessarily they're not the type that would affirm the hypothesis of economic anxiety being the main driver for this. I mean, maybe there's a certain sense of like feeling like others might be cutting in line that might contribute to it, but ultimately they're all like professionals, right? It's kind of, it makes me think of how a very large percentage, like larger than it should be relative to the population, total, like percentage, is that there were a bunch of real estate agents and real estate people who went to January 6th.
Right, right. That's like exactly what I was thinking as you were saying this. Like this, they do not fit like the stereotype of what you consider to be like. This isn't the forgotten man that Donald Trump is talking about. These are
No,
people who are, maybe not all of them being super rich, but they're
no.
certainly comfortable or well off. And some of them even flew down in a private plane to DC on January 6th, 2021 to storm the Capitol.
Yeah,
But, they aren't what people normally consider to be like. They're not like a skinhead gang or the
no.
stereotype I had mentioned earlier.
Or
Um,
even like Patriot Front or Blood Tribe, or like any of those types, right?
right.
Like, not like the wear it on their sleeve types. They're the covert types, the types that blend into society, and like, do the normal thing face to face with people who don't share their ideas, but kind of are living these double lives.
Right. And I guess that makes sense why they run these accounts, because if they felt like if they could be like a open proud boy, they would be doing the right wing grift, taking advantage of it with their real name. Probably they wouldn't
Sure.
be doing the right wing grift, but anonymously.
Sure. Sure. Right. And like, maybe there's a certain amount of like repression that's involved here, right? Like, where they have these beliefs, they don't feel comfortable expressing them in their day-to-day life, or they can't do it without it causing them trouble. And so it leaks out in these other ways. And so an anonymous Twitter account is one of those ways, or it's like a release valve for their prejudice and their hate.
Right. How influential would you say these like? Because what would you say these anonymous accounts probably what, like thousands, couple thousand, maybe tens of
Well,
thousands?
collectively, all five of these guys, it's like hundreds of thousands of
Right.
followers. I mean,
Right.
it's like we can't match them all up and make sure they're all unique to
Right. Right.
ensure that they're not overlapping. But in some instances, it's hundreds of followers. At the lower instances, it's like thousands or tens of thousands. So, how influential are they? It's hard to say. I mean, those numbers, they kind of speak for themselves. Um, in some instances, like in the previous article I wrote in December, Elon Musk had replied, to some of these accounts. Like, other people who were even more mainstream conservatives had retweeted them or followed them. So does that mean all of those people are outright neo-Nazis or ideological white supremacists? Like, no. But what it does indicate is that these accounts, these ideas, are spreading into the broader political discourse and are drawing attention, or at least the accounts themselves are drawing attention from more mainstream conservative types, which could then inadvertently spread those ideas to a larger, maybe sympathetic in some ways, audience. And
Right.
some of these guys are more overt than others in their posting. It's not always like all swastikas and Adolf Hitler. Sometimes it's a little more tongue in cheek, or a little more coded, you could say. But if you really look at what they post, kind of you zoom out and you take into account a lot of the different posts, it's like clearly white supremacist or white nationalist, whatever your preferred phrasing of it is, clearly racist, hateful, and supremacist. I would say is the right term. Um, and I think anyone can just look around right now and look at if you read the news, like you will see that there are people of power who are sympathetic to some of the types of ideas that are spread in these communities. I mean, like it used to be that the whole great replacement theory was mostly discussed among like white supremacists and neo-Nazis, but now we've got like national and state level politicians who
Elon
say
Musk,
similar
for
things.
example.
Right.
And
Right.
most concerning to me is like just a few years ago, Elon Musk sharing that conspiracy theory was enough for, some of the biggest companies on the planet to say, I'm not giving his company, in this instance X, any more money by
Yeah.
advertising on there. And now, just a few years removed from them leaving, they now think it's okay to go back because the guy who shares these beliefs is now sitting beside the guy who's living in the White House.
Right. And I mean, there's the guy that resigned from Doge because he had posted about him being favorable to like a eugenicist immigration policy. That was Marco
Right.
Elez, if I'm recalling correctly,
Right.
and they fought for him to be reinstated.
Right.
So, the way I look at it is this: either there might be a chance for accountability here with regard to this ICE prosecutor. Maybe some people will make some decisions that will give us a sliver of hope that some things are beyond the pale, or or it kind of shows us it shows us what the administration's willing to tolerate and what
Right.
they're willing to stand by.
Right. In this particular case, maybe the overt Hitler stuff might be a step too far, like you said, for a lot of even the most anti-immigrant of ICE's, upper echelons would
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
I would hope that the tree shredder thing also might be a line, but we'll take what we can get at this point.
Right. Right.
Whatever they decide
But you know
is
what?
bad enough.
I sort of think though that like in most cases, at least maybe in these times, or at least over the next 4 years, more so than ever before. Um, I actually think like, and I think you probably agree, because it seems like an obvious thing, but maybe not to everybody. I think the reason these guys are anonymous in most cases isn't because like they fear, like the ICE prosecutor is not afraid that like he's gonna go to the office and his ICE coworker is gonna be like, "Oh, I can't believe you." That's not why they're anonymous. They're anonymous because their neighbors and the people they have to see in their daily lives might not always agree with these thoughts, and they do have
Yeah.
to go out in public, and that's just that name and their face will be out there with that report detailing exactly what they believe and what they posted on that account.
Well, right, and I mean, I think to a certain extent that it does extend to their work life because no matter how much people might view ICE as just being this, particular way, and I'm not going to try and dissuade you of holding whatever opinion you have about ICE. But what I will say is that there are a lot of people who work for ICE that aren't white, that are people of color. I mean, like a lot of people that I've interacted with in the course of reporting the story, whether they're comms people, um, they're public affairs representatives. I've seen other lawyers for ICE that are not white, that are people of color. The security guards in immigration court, people of color. I mean, it is absolutely the case that someone in this position would be interacting with people that are not exclusively
Right.
white.
Right. Right.
And you know, I've heard this. I can't attribute this directly to someone, but I've heard this a couple times. The mentality that we're not going to let him or that type of person make us feel uncomfortable. We're going to make them. They're going to feel uncomfortable around us now that we know these things. And so, yeah, I mean, we don't live in a society that is truly totalitarian in a white supremacist way yet. And so we still do have, I think, this ability for civil society and our social interactions to be one of the things that slows that down. Because ultimately, yeah, people do want to get along. I mean, people want to go through their days without it being a constant conflict. Even a white supremacist, might want that or might have to do that in order to just get by. Not to be overly sympathetic, but yeah, that is the reality. That is the reality, that there's a lot of people who work for the government who are going to hear something like this and say, yeah, that's obviously too far.
Right, right. No, I definitely agree with you. And like, there are obviously people who work for ICE who probably, they're obviously upholding the system that's basically like of white supremacy. But, they don't probably view it that way because they're not overtly ideologues. And
No.
there's probably people there who just want like a good, fair immigration system and might even have sympathy for some of the people who,
Right.
they work with or have run through the system. But at the same time, we are
Yep.
living in this new world where, Nazis and white supremacists, as crazy as it may sound to some, are not always white. And
Yeah.
openly too. I'm not even talking about like, oh, they're upholding white supremacy, but they're, just the job they have. No, we found that like, you probably have come across
Yeah.
some of these guys running these accounts yourself that you're working on.
Yeah. That's right.
It's a brand new world out there for the far right, and we're finding that there's black and brown and neo Nazis and white supremacists in all shapes, colors, and sizes.
That is right. That is right. I mean, like I said, one of the people we identified in December is Hispanic, Latino. One of the guys we identified talked about how he had Japanese Nazi friends. So yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, the reality
All
is
right.
that
Well, I guess that one's not too
supremacy.
shocking. There's a history there.
Yeah, no, that one's far less shocking. But I mean, it's true. The question is though, is it a devil's bargain, or these people really think that they're not going to get their face eaten by the face eating cougar? There's all sorts of things to
Right.
consider there. And I mean, ultimately, yeah, like, this is just egregious. I think really what we found, it's pretty clear cut. I mean, it if I wrote this 10 years ago, if ICE around 10 years ago, yeah, I think they were. I
Yeah.
mean, people might be like, this is so far fetched, and there would be way more uproar about it. But now, I unfortunately, I think that it's like just another day,
Right.
just another
Right.
day in America right now.
Right. Well, Stephen, absolutely great work. This piece, everyone should go check it out. We talked about it right now, but I'm telling you, reading it's well written too. It's not just what the details of what he uncovers. Just like I said, it felt like I was reading like a movie play out as I was going through the piece. And keep us updated about what's going on with it. And also, one last question, actually. Anything? Any hints you can share about any upcoming pieces of perhaps someone or out there that's running a
I I
neo-Nazi account that
I
you're
should I
looking
should
into?
not say much other than that there's more coming, in a similar direction, not exactly the same, but it should be an interesting one. There's been some significant people who have been interested in this count, who've been attracted to it, and yeah, you know it's befuddling that this is where we're at, where anonymous white supremacists have the attention of very powerful people on the internet. But um, I think we have to continue to demonstrate the sort of ideological undercurrents that people in power like Elon Musk are paying attention to, because that will help
Right.
us understand what they're really up to. The last thing I'll do is, I'm just going to hijack your stream and say,
No, please go ahead.
we just published the latest issue of the magazine, the literary magazine. I published Protein
Right. Oh,
magazine. It's
yes.
beautiful, really awesome, high quality print, full color. There's a lot of really good stuff in here. Please order one or
Tell
check it out online
tell
and
people
read
where
our
they can find it.
proteinmag.com.
Okay. And where can people find you?
Blue Sky, Twitter. I'm at Steve Anzetti. And from there, you can find a link tree where you can read all of my work in one place. So yeah, thanks for having me, Matt. It's always a pleasure.
Pleasure to have you on the show, Stephen. I'm sorry, I said it at the top of the show and I can't remember. Is it Monacelli or Monticelli?
Monacelli.
Monacelli. Stephen Monacelli, everyone. Great to have you on. I hope you'll join us again real soon with your next piece.
Take care, man.
Have a great night. All right, folks, let's go to the second half of the show where I will take your phone calls. Let me see here. Before we do that, let's getting the phone system ready. I know a lot of people have been asking for Skype. I'm going to do another night, another episode of taking calls via the phone line system. I'm sorry, Skype users. I promise. I just got to get that set up. I'm using a different Skype account than usual. But I'm not using a different Skype account than the one I use for your calls. I have to set the other one up on this new computer that I got to make these streams much better, which I'm sure the Skype people are feeling like isn't much better because they can't call. No, but it is visually and how it runs, honestly. But anyway. Oh, I just clicked the wrong thing on my computer. Wonderful. All right, here we go. Folks, to support this show, go to patreon.com/MattBinder. Remember, doomed scam economy. It's all back, baby. We're going full throttle under the Trump administration and the Musk administration. So your support helps the show, doomed and scam economy, grow. Go to patreon.com/MattBinder to become a paying subscriber and supporting the show. You could also drop a super chat at youtube.com/MattBinder. And if you're not already subscribed, subscribe there. You could also become a paying member via YouTube as well if you prefer to use that method. You could also go to twitch.tv/MattBinder and follow me there, where I also stream this. And if you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, don't forget you get a free Twitch Prime subscription every month. What is that, if you don't know? Basically, when you pay Amazon for your Amazon Prime subscription, they give you a free Twitch membership to give to your favorite creator. It's free for you, but it gets the creator you give it to money. Like you get them paid. And basically, it forces Amazon to give away like a couple of bucks from the subscription for Amazon Prime that you give them. I don't know if you've heard, but Jeff Bezos wrote a letter to the Washington Post staff today, basically saying the opinion section can no longer publish a diverse set of opinions. It's pretty crazy. Let me pull up exactly what he said. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, according to Jeff Bezos, the Washington Post editorial section can only write and publish content that is in the support and defense of two pillars: personal liberties and free markets. So, anything outside of that purview, like, the things that a lot of leftists, socialists, even like your basic progressives believe, apparently can't be published in the Washington Post anymore. So much for that first pillar that Jeff Bezos talked about, which is personal liberties, right? But anyway, he really means his personal liberties and his love for free markets, whatever those are, because really it doesn't exist. Not in the way they think it does. So make sure that I'm not going to tell you to stop paying for Amazon Prime. Obviously, if you want to do that, it's a great thing to do, to boycott Amazon. And I know there's going to be this big Amazon boycott in like a couple of days or something. When is it? Oh, it's the end of this week, February 28th. Boycott of Target, Amazon, and Walmart and more. An economic blackout on February 28th. I'm not going to tell you not to partake in those. I'm not going to tell you to partake in those if you want to, for sure. Power to you. But, people got to do what they got to do. I get it. But if you're paying for Amazon Prime, you can't let them keep all your money when you can be giving a couple bucks of it to your favorite creators. Don't even have to give it to me if you don't want to. Give it to someone else you watch on Twitch. Give it to someone you don't watch on Twitch. Just give it to someone. If everyone who paid for Amazon Prime actually used Twitch Prime, that free Twitch Prime subscription, I mean, think about how many Amazon Prime subscribers there are. I will guarantee you that like the portion of Amazon Prime subscribers that actually use that Twitch Prime subscription, it's got to be like less than 1%. I would love to know the percentage that even know about it. So if everyone used that, like Amazon's not gonna go broke because you're still giving them the main Twitch Prime, you're still giving them the main Amazon Prime subscription money. But we're probably talking about millions of dollars that they would lose out on, more than that. But everyone's got to use it. Man, if everyone who had an Amazon Prime subscription gave me their free Twitch Prime subscription for 1 month, I'd be like set for life. Just 1 month of how many Amazon Prime subscribers are there again? There's over 200 million Amazon Prime subscribers. If Amazon gives $1 for every Twitch Prime subscription, I'd make $200 million in 1 month. Man, this is I'm going into that, like, remember when I don't know if everyone did this, but a lot of people have because it's like a meme. Like, when you were a kid and you were like, man, if I sold everybody in the country a t-shirt for $5, I'd be a billionaire. I'm going in that territory now. But anyway, folks, you get the point. Twitch.tv/MattBinder. Give me your Twitch Prime subscription. What else? Subscribe to the newsletter at disruptionist.com. I should have some more good stuff coming your way there. Doomedcast.com and scameconomy.com for the podcast versions of those shows. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Google Play or wherever you listen to your podcasts for Doomed and Scam Economy if you can. And with all that said, we'll go to the second half of the show. I'll take some calls, not too long, but we'll have a little fun. I'll take a few calls and we'll call it a night. Don't forget Thursday, you'll see me on the Majority Report with Emma Vigland. You will see me on Leftist Mafia with the Humanist Report, the Rational National, Ariana Jasmine, Rebecca Azor, Lance from the Surfs, the whole crew. It's fantastic Thursdays, just like this show is fantastic. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick break. If you're watching the live stream, don't go anywhere. I'm going to pop back up right here on this feed after a short break. And if you are listening to the free podcast version of this show, this is where I say to you, I will see you next time on Doomed. Today on Doomed.
Ecological collapse, corporate fascism, corporate journalism, police brutality, voter suppression, austerity economics, education masses, rampant homophobia,
We got our first caller.
What's up, Matt?
Hey,
You from Jamaica?
Dave from Jamaica. How are you doing, my friend? What are we going to be talking about today? I don't think you are exactly what you think you are. I would say you're a conservative. What makes you a liberal?
Activist.
I'm pro-Green New Deal.
Are you? Yes, really? Absolutely. Really? I have watched the show. I've seen you completely come out and get really mad at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for some of the things in the Green New Deal.
You mean like free college for black people?
All right, folks, we are back. The number to call in. Thank you for anyone who gave out the number. Oh, we already got calls. 646 303 7337. That's 646 303 7337. Let's go to the phones right now. Oh, 1 second. I got ringing in my ear still. I don't know why that's still coming. Hold on. Oh. There was a glitch on my call system. Call me right back. I lost you. It just froze. The call system, not my computer. All right, it should be working now. All right, call me right back. 646-303-7337. Let's take this call as they come in. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, wait, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Say that one more time. I had you going through the wrong input. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm Annie Fitzgerald, and I'm calling from Washington State.
Oh, hey, Annie. How you doing? What's been going on?
Well, first, before I get into what I wanted to mention, I just want to thank everyone in the chats that have been supporting me as I've been going through chemotherapy the last 5 weeks.
How's that? I hope everything's been going as good as it can.
Yeah. Yeah, my insurance company kind of screwed me over on the copays. So
I hear they do things like
been
that.
very-
I hear they do things like that. And there might have been, you might have heard about this really famous case a couple months ago where someone did something about that.
Yeah. Yeah, they lied to me about my copays for my treatments being doubled. They said that it would stay at $100 when I switched from a one plan to another through the same insurance companies, and they doubled it from $100 to $200 starting in February, and it wouldn't be for the help of people donating in the various chats. I wouldn't be able to be receiving the treatment I need right now. And I just wanted to really say thank you to everyone, who has donated, and thank you to everyone for your kind words of support, because honestly, I'm really scared about losing my Medicare and stuff right now with everything going on. And so, honestly, it's, the support, even just the kind words, really helps keep me going. But
I'm glad to hear that there's, some positive out of this, or, things that, people been able to help. I appreciate that to everybody. And I hope, that's been a positive part of all this for you too.
Yeah. But the main thing I wanted to kind of talk about is what's been happening in Washington State regarding the universal healthcare bills that have been sitting in our state and state house and the Senate. state senate.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um,
What's been going on with that?
well, there
Uh-oh.
are
I didn't like that
people
laugh.
in there are people in these committees that are actively trying to, in my humble opinion, sabotage these efforts to
No.
get universal health care in Washington state. And there are especially a certain leader of the Senate committee is not exactly being the most cooperative about bringing the vote to the Senate floor. And so right now I volunteer with Home Washington, which is an organization that advocates for what's universal health care and what's called the Washington Health Trust in Washington state. It's part of a larger coalition of groups across the state through healthcare as a human right that are also advocating for this. And so anyhow, it's kind of stalling in the state legislature right now, and it's probably, I got to be realistic. It's probably not going to make it out of committee this term, which, considering that millions of Washingtonians rely on Medicaid and Medicare in this state, that's incredibly infuriating. I was hoping that the threats to these programs would help motivate these legislators to do whatever they need to do to get this voted on both the House and Senate floor, but that has not been the case, and it's probably not going to make it out of committee before this session ends, which will be sometime in late March, early April. Some of us would like to gather our pitchforks and head to Olympia to hold a rally and attempt to hold some of these people accountable. But the reality is that it's probably going to have to go to a ballot initiative, which would be voted on by voters in the state. And that probably has a better chance of passing. And so one of the things that I'm working with on Whole Washington right now is they are planning a fundraiser for May 17th, and it's going to be trying to raise money to prepare for the ballot initiative, because we're going to need at least $1 million, if not more, to get it on the ballot. And then once, it's on the ballot, doing all the organizing around, informing voters what it is and why it would be so much better than the shitty healthcare they have now. Anyhow, I was going to send you an email, but I really think you should consider having someone on who's working on this, because Oregon is working on something similar as well, and if we can get this approved in Washington state, it would probably help encourage other states to move forward on this as well. And so I don't know if you have an email address or something, but we would love to have someone from our org possibly come on your show to talk about this and to like talk about what people can do to give their support and everything.
Yeah, sure. Reach out to me. My email is, I got to set up an email for specifically like show related stuff, but my general email that I use for everything is matt@xmattx.com.
Matt@x.x.com.
No, yeah, that's why I need to get a different email. Matt, MATT at xmattx.com.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. If can you put that in the chat for me?
Yes,
That would be
yes.
really helpful.
Yes. I'll do that right
And
now.
then we'll have someone reach out because we're really gonna need people to help organize. We're gonna need volunteers. We're gonna need people to give their support. Whether you're in the state or not, we're gonna need a lot of people to help get this through. I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of information about that, and keep an eye on what Whole Washington and Healthcare as a Human Right is doing, because we've been working on this for years and years now, trying to get this passed, and it's been really frustrating because there are people like in the committees and stuff that don't want to see this happen, and they just continue to postpone and give lame excuses as to why it can't get out of committee and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So, we'll have somebody email you, and hopefully we can set something up.
Yeah, sounds perfect.
Awesome.
All right, talk to you soon. Have a great night.
By the way.
Oh wait, go ahead.
Yeah. By the way, just in case you don't remember me, I called in.
No, I remember you.
I was running for
I
state rep
remember
last
you
year.
completely. Maybe you're talking to
Okay.
everybody else, but I remember you. Please. Have a great night.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for taking my call, and have a great night.
You too. If I remember you. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, let's take this next call. 347,
Hello?
what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Hey, you're on the air. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh, hey, Matt. It's Olaf from Brooklyn.
Oh, who are you? I don't remember you. No, I'm joking. How you doing, man?
It's good. It's good.
If Annie, who calls into this show regularly, like for every episode for like months in a row, is gonna pull a, not sure if you remember me, then I think all bets are off. I can't possibly remember anybody.
Shit. But I want to talk about, let's forget about the national news for a second. Let's forget about our state of disaster in Washington, and let's bring it back home to the boroughs for a sec, and look at the struggle we're going through right now with Eric Adams in the upcoming mayoral race, and
Oh boy.
Cuomo literally kind of throwing his hat in there. I've been kind of like screaming about this for like a couple of months about, hey, yeah, Cuomo might jump in the race. Looks like he might, maybe not. But at the same time, I'm glad. I know people are upset that Hochul didn't like cut the cord on Eric Adams, but that could have led to real like disaster there.
Yeah, I
Real
don't. I
disaster.
mean, Jumaane Williams would become mayor, so I mean, I don't know about that. I think.
Yeah, but then like he'll be mayor for like short time because they'll have to do a special election.
Yeah, but I think there's something to the mayor having that incumbency, even if it's just for a few months, where
Yeah.
he'll talk and people will listen. And I don't think he would have run. Like, I don't think he would have run. Maybe he would have thrown his hat, but I think he would have endorsed somebody, and his endorsement would have held a lot of water.
probably because I was an advocate for him like being mayor for like a while, especially after like his gubernatorial race. He did great inside the city. His numbers was above everyone, even Hochul, inside the city. And I was like, yeah, he could definitely run for mayor. And then like next thing you know, I'm looking up, yeah, he gonna run for, and nope. He said, I'm not running for mayor. I'm like, what are you talking about? Look at your numbers. What are you? He's like, I'm not. He said this way before that he's not running for mayor, and he even said this recently on, I forgot, it's not CBS. It's one of the local channels. But then like they were asking like, hey, yeah, like you might become mayor soon. Like, are you ready for it? He's like, yeah, I'm ready for anything that comes to the plate. I'm not really interested in being mayor. And they're like, you sure you're not interested? Like, yeah, I run for the things I'm interested in. Like, he made it clear that he's not interested in being mayor. And I'm just like, yeah. Every time I see someone goes like, yeah, Damani Williams was gonna definitely be mayor. Like, he definitely gonna run for mayor. I'm like, yeah, bro doesn't want to be mayor. He does not want to be mayor. But
and which is good. I mean,
that,
but it's good to see someone who really does not want to hold public office. At least a
like
specific public
he's
office.
Interested in the positions that he runs for.
Right.
But I was pissed off because when it comes to mayoral race, and then like Adams basically has no chance, but he has the same constituents, the same voters that will vote for Adams will vote for Cuomo. Sadly, there's a decent amount in my fucking area. Sadly, there's a bunch of black leaders that will vote for Cuomo still. They will advocate for him.
It's in every community, honestly. There's a real, what's the word I'm looking for? Allegiance to the Democratic establishment, whatever it might be in whatever particular instance. Because I don't know, it is what it is.
Yeah, like he walked up into the church and was like basically, oh, Cuomo's there for us. Like, he not there for you. He don't really care. At the same time, I got Eric Adams early coming into my neighborhood, and then yeah, remember when y'all like I think y'all showed the video on like him talking about like Mein Kampf or some like when he was in the church. Yeah, that was in my area. That was in Ocean Hill. And I was like, he did that where? I was pissed off. I know there was protests. I was helping like my family at the moment, so I didn't know he was here in the area, so I couldn't go and protest with him. And then when I discovered that, I was just enraged. And like I'm just okay. I'm like, okay, this is like these are the people that will like advocate for Adams. These are the same people who use as shields for like anything. And these are the same people that will literally go like, you know what? You're not feeling Adams anymore. You might vote for Cuomo. You got, what's his name? Dumbass from the Bronx. Useless guy. Richie Torres. Richie Torres go like, I endorse Cuomo. It's like, we all know you're Zionist.
Yeah, well, that's not surprising from him. Yeah, you know that. Yeah.
And then we got my bitch ass. I'm sorry, I'm using explicit language here because I'm like this. These recent news clips have been pissing me off. Hakeem Jeffries, you don't know how much of a disappointment it is to have that man as my congressman. He's like, I don't care what church you go to, but he's like, oh, God is forever, whatever. But then like the president's coming up like, no, you better fucking go back and like do something. I barely see you inside the borough, and you talking about this and that. Like, no. Go back to DC. Don't go to Silicon Valley. Go back to DC or come back home and be inflaming everyone here. Don't go run to your donors out there in Silicon Valley because they ain't constituency. They not voting for you. Like I get pissed off at Hakeem Jeffries because he just be talking in some watered down like it's just I hate that man. I really do. I really wish somebody wakes him up. It's like who's worse, him or Schumer? Like they're in a dead tie race of who's worse, and both our leaders. One of them is my congressman. I can't take it. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know what to say other than you got. I mean, I don't have a great congressperson either, but at least she's not. Grace Ming is my congressperson, but at least she's not like the House Minority Leader.
It sucks. And then I know these old. I'm sorry, boomers out there. I'm sorry, but some of y'all need to go. Some of y'all need to go.
Yeah.
Some of y'all need to like sit on the couch and go like, let everybody else take it. Nancy,
You know, I gotta
I hope
say, you know, seeing Jeffries though makes you really appreciate Nancy Pelosi. I mean, as crazy as it might sound, it's the truth. For me at least.
it's crazy.
Because you know she sucks, but not like Jeffries does.
I'm not gonna lie. I was spamming. Hey, yeah. After what she was like doing to AOC and like literally putting Connolly, someone that like has one foot in the grave already. I was like, you know what, Nancy, you might need to take another trip down the steps. You might need to. Them steps need some. You might need some vacation time, some more vacation time, because the way you be acting, we don't need that right now. And Connolly, he has no movement in him. He's just. It's like you might have wanted this your whole entire career, but then like you don't have the energy for it anymore. You don't have the willpower to like actually like confront this. Even if we have so little pull, you're not doing it. It's just not cutting it.
Yeah.
I really want this mayor race to. I know they're trying to push for the city council lady to also the leader of city council to run in a race as well, because like they're not willing to put their hat in with Adams anymore, and they might want a contender with Cuomo as well. So that could eat away at like a lot of what those three have there. But Cuomo has apparently he's like 33% ahead in the race, and it's like what's his name? I forgot. He's from Astoria.
Oh, the socialist guy running for mayor, right?
Yeah.
That's what's his name again? Zoran Mamdani.
Zoran, yeah. I like him a lot. He's like
great.
gonna be first on my thing. I have Ramos as my second, because I've been looking around already. At first I had Brad Lander because he was the only person I was hearing for like I think last year. He threw his hat in really early. I was looking at him. He looked decent, but then like Brad Landon, he's like he's tripping all over himself like recently. Like if you see one of his commercials about like, hey, yeah, like we have crime here. You have a lot of death. So you know what? We're gonna put up a report, like so they could like we're gonna log all the crimes that's happening. So we put it in a database and like and it's like, what is this? Like, what is this? And then plus, I know some people won't like the fact that he's a Zionist as well. I was like, okay, not he likes to go like, I'm not that type of Zionist.
Wait, who says that? Who are you talking about? Who are you talking
Brad
about?
Lander.
Right. I mean,
Brad Lander.
He's
like, I'm not the bad type of Zionist. I'm the good type.
Yeah,
and it's
I'm not a fan of that, but he's probably what if I was to vote, he'd be like probably my second in the rank voting, my second choice. Honestly,
I
that'd be
think
it.
look into Jessica Ramos because she has a lot of decent
Oh
policies that
right,
I
I
think
forgot she's running. I
strong.
forgot she's running for mayor. I have
Yeah,
to. I'll have to
you
look
forgetting
into
about the
her.
females. Come on, come
No,
on,
I
Matt.
know.
Come
I
on.
know who she. I know who she is. I remember there was something. I remember there was something about. There was something she did that. Um. She got she some. I don't remember exactly what it was. I have to look into it.
I
But
think people said that she and AOC had a spout, but I don't know what that is,
there was
and
something going
I'm
on.
willing
There
to
was something
overlook
going
that.
on like that. I don't remember exactly what it
But
was. But
she had
yeah,
a she had
I'll
a
probably put
decent.
her on the ranked choice voting list too. But Mamdani is easily my number one pick.
Mondani's the number one pick. Then you have I think Ramos. Me personally, second. There's another one. I think he's close to my area as well. Forgot his name as well. He's from Crown Heights. Um,
Let me
but
get the
he's
list
also
up. Hold on. Let me get the list up. Um. You talking about Zelnor?
yeah, he's also a Zionist. It's crazy.
Well, he also there was a town hall today. Hold on. There was not or like there's like a town hall event today. Or debate. I'm not sure. Hold
Yeah,
on. And there was a
like I
question
gotta
that
watch all these debates on repeat.
hold on. Where was this? I just saw it. Hold on. Hopefully I favorited it. Where is it? Um. I'm not gonna be able to find it, am I? I forgot to
Yeah.
save it.
Probably look at the city or the Gothamist. They probably have a list of it.
Oh, here we go. This was from the event. Will you support a rent freeze for rent stabilized tenants? Zoran Mamdani said absolutely.
Yep, that's one of his policies.
Jessica Ramos said claro que sí, which is yes. Brad Lander said if the data supports it, which
Nope. Yep. Yeah. You see, he's just like, why is he rank stepping? He
but
loves rank
but
stepping.
Zelnor and Scott Stringer were an outright no.
Yeah, they're weird. Zelnor has a housing policy they put forward. I didn't look into it all, but people say it's good, but I don't know necessarily, so I have to read up on that myself. But that's the only decent news I hear about him. He's also strange like Brad Lander. Scott Stringer. We should just ignore him. Like we have a decent amount of progressive.
Scott Stringer was the progressive in the race last time around, and then he got derailed by
sexual allegations. Let's
sexual
keep that away.
He got me too'd. And the fact that he's running again is just like, I'm sorry, it's over, buddy. You don't get. I don't get this whole.
Too.
I mean, yeah, Cuomo is going to make the comeback, but Cuomo's got the. I'm not like the outlook for Cuomo though is he's got the name recognition that'll overpower that, and he's probably right. Scott Stringer does not.
Yeah, I don't know why he keeps trying.
I think Zoran has Mamdani has a real chance of having the Bill de Blasio moment. And for people who, and that's not a bad thing, because I know people might think that sounds like a bad thing, because but looking back, honestly, de Blasio was the best mayor we've had in the past, like,
he was, I think,
20, 30, 40 years.
But he said something stupid just recently, as in, I think he was like, hey, I think it was about Adams, and it was like, hey, I don't think it was right what's happening with Adams. It was like, shut up, de Blasio. Every time somebody wants to give you some flowers for the little stuff you do, you remind people why we take it away, we beat you on the head, like get out of here.
But what I was saying was, if people who weren't around then might not know, but when de Blasio was first elected, he was like, he started out way behind in the polls. Like, he was an unknown. There were a number of people polling above him. First and foremost, Michael Bloomberg, second in command, who he endorsed, basically. She was Quinn, I think her name was. She was like the favorite to become the next mayor of New York. Like, she had it in the bag. And de Blasio just basically off of like activism and shoring up the support from all the different grassroots organizations in New York basically like surged in the polls and won. And I think Zoran has that opportunity. I mean, Cuomo is going to be a different beast than Quinn was for de Blasio, but I think he could pull it off.
I think Zoran needs to go more to church. Come to some of these churches, get people to flip on like Cuomo, because he has been going out there. I've seen he has a lot of foot movement. He visited like a lot of supporters, which I'm happy about. That's one thing I would advocate that all my progressive candidates should do. Start doing some legwork. Go do a tour of the 5 boroughs. Go into every apartment building if you can.
Have that Hillary Clinton moment of walking into an apartment building and looking like you've seen a ghost.
I think he surprised some people. Like he was like, "Hey, yeah, like I was born in Uganda." Hey, what? You African? like I was like, "Oh wait, Snap, you could definitely get people with this. You could definitely like tell them about like everything."
Wait, what did you say? Say that again?
He was born in Uganda.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, like I seen there was a video of him like talking in church. That's what I'm talking about. I like this guy. Like he knows what he's doing. He's like literally talk.
He's gotta make the rounds without a doubt. He's gotta make the rounds, and he's got to. He's doing it. Like he's clearly doing it. But he's got to continue. He's got to get in with the. He's like you said, some of those areas that are used to the Democratic establishment coming into the churches and the events and making themselves seen. He does that. I think he could pull it off.
Like I really do. At the same time, I think. Hold on. It's just on the back of my mind. I think he like a lot of he has a lot of like internet or social media like favor right now, and sometimes it doesn't reflect that well. Like I'm not saying it won't, but it's like will it be tangible? I don't know. Some of these people are fickle. At the same time, people are like, hey, a lot of things might get watered down because we are telling a lot of people to register as Democrats as well to go into our primary. So it's going to be more of like, who knows at this point, like what type of voter base we will have in the Democratic primary, because no one likes Adams, and we are going like, this is not even like, hey, yeah, choose the best candidate from New York anymore. This is like, fuck Eric Adams. We don't want Eric Adams. So we just have a lot of people potentially coming into the primary, but who knows if they actually will come to the primary? They might forget the date and go like, I thought we were talking about November. Like, no.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, always a pleasure to hear from you, Ola.
But wait, one last thing.
Go ahead.
I just want people to remember, we don't want Adams. We don't want Cuomo. Cuomo fucked up this state. He fucked up New York City. He fucked up this state for Democrats to empower himself. He literally aligned himself with Republicans to shit on progressives and Democrats as a whole. And that's why we lost a lot in Long Island. And that's why there's no movement upstate as well. And he fucked up the MTA. He basically made the previous MTA had leave because he was using the Second Avenue project as a vanity project. Some elected leader acting like he knows how to build trains. Get this guy the fuck out of here.
I couldn't agree more, my friend. Have a great night.
All right, you too. All right, peace, chat.
Always great to hear from Olaf. Uh, 304, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, this is Ren calling from the great state of Oregon. I am asking once again to invite you to an unforgettable luncheon.
This is Bernie Sanders.
Yes, yes. This is Bernie Sanders.
Wow, that
I
was pretty. That was pretty good, Bernie Sanders. I like the idea of
I
him
have a
saying an
pretty
unforgettable luncheon.
I have a yeah, it was a little steamed hams. Just slide that in. No, I've got a couple of good Bernie Sanders bits locked and loaded. Like I had one called Bernadine Tranders, where it was, Mr. Speaker, I hold my body in contempt, Mr. Speaker.
That's also very good.
Thank you. There was one that was like, the American people are tired of a government filled with people who care for it and its donors instead of they them. that was it. I'm not going to subject you to any more of my
That's a good one.
dad tier humor.
Hey, if there's anyone who loves a good dad joke, it's me, the king of the dad jokes, at least on Thursday nights.
That was an awesome interview that you secured earlier in the program.
Oh,
Like,
thank you.
for
I
real.
appreciate that. It was Stephen is great. He's really good, and that piece.
You've had him on before?
Yeah, he's been on before. He was the guy. I don't know if you might remember him, who went to a college campus when he heard Steven Crowder was going to be there, and he sat down and basically took him to task, and it was a great interview.
Oh, wow. That might have been, was this like 2017 era? 2016 era?
2022. 2020.
Oh, okay.
2022. Not that long ago, but not that recent either.
No, fair enough. Oh my God, it's been multiple lifetimes since February of 2024.
Hey, I've lost track of everything. I don't even know what year it is anymore.
Things are pretty dire right now. Things feel pretty bad. I don't know. Shit's kind of hitting the fan. I've been doing what I can. I'm gonna stop by Washington after I stop in New York City. I don't know if I'm gonna be able.
When are you coming to New York again?
I believe I had planned it to either be April 19th or April 20th. That I'm gonna be in New York City. You know, I'm gonna take the train up the Northeast Corridor to get there. Have a day trip, stay the whole day.
That's Easter weekend, isn't it? That's gonna be maybe a little rough for me. We'll see.
Well, then I could push it around, do it earlier or do it later. That's fair.
See, my mom is one of those moms who's like, on the holidays, the family's got to be doing the family thing, especially with her having grandkids now. So, yeah, it's how it is. How it is, yeah.
That's lovely. That's lovely. If you don't mind me asking, how old's your mom?
I don't know. She's a boomer. She's a boomer. So somewhere in that age range.
Boomer.
Yeah.
My friend's mom's a boomer, and she just turned 62, and she's doing really, really good for 62. And I picked up the phone to talk to her, and I was like, she was like, "Oh yeah, I turned 62," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, Sandy, I hope I look like you when I'm that old." You know, it's. Oh my gosh, I have so many like awesome older women in my life. But gosh, I gotta get off the phone in another 2 minutes.
Oh, sure. What's going on? I mean, what do you want to talk about? Really quick. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I plugged Zoran Mamdani and like the portal to register to vote in New York City because I figured that like out of my number of subscribers, I figure out of like 1,000, there's got to be at least like 1 or 2 that live in New York City. And the other thing is that like I'm doing my radio show and I'm doing it every Thursday. I was wondering if maybe I could like rebroadcast like some of your interviews or something, or if I could email you formally about that.
Yeah, sure. Reach out to me and let me know. And yeah, well, yeah, of course.
The other thing, would you like to hear something abhorrent that a liberal said to me the other day?
Oh boy, do I. Yeah, sure. I mean, also, I've been like, we're in the time frame where it's like, I feel like we gotta put our differences aside with some of the liberals with their, and depending on what
they're all Judas. They'll all betray us.
But we need to. I feel like the times we're in right now, we need to unite, just to defeat what's before us. But yeah, who knows? Go ahead. What would you want to say?
So, she calls me or whatever because she heard me, like, the local Democratic Party keeps trying to, like, recruit me. And, like, I very respectfully tell them no. And, like, I don't think they're totally catching the vibe that, like, I'm not a Democrat because I'm, like, a secret, more radical third thing. And, she's calling me and we're talking about this and that. And, like, I'm talking about, like, people are talking about cutting welfare and waste and all this other stuff. Like, welfare as it used to exist doesn't even exist anymore. Like, it's been tamped since the 90s. And I'm explaining all this other stuff. And even when, like, people were getting welfare, it was $50 a month per kid. It was the equivalent of $50 a month per kid. And then she tells me, yeah, but, like, there were, like, people did lie and, like, take advantage of it. And, like, some people were having kids just to get welfare. And I was like, what? And then the other thing that, like, totally floored me, she asked me why I thought America was a net drug importer instead of us being the people making the drugs and selling them to other countries. And I was like telling her that it's because people are overexploited and people largely use drugs to either, like take stimulants in order to do a job or work longer hours, or, like they drink themselves to death or take pain medicine because they work too long and need to come down at the end of the day.
Well, I'm glad you were able to set her straight.
She told me she doesn't think that that's the case, though, and that the reason is entitlement, because these coal miners in West Virginia lose their job and they get laid off, and all of a sudden they can't buy a new iPhone anymore, and so they go and start using Sentinel. And that was just what made me be like, oh my God, these fucking...
That's pretty incredible, that one, actually. I mean, that's pretty... hoops you just jump through.
They're like babies, they're like toddlers, just the most amazing things come out of their mouth.
Yeah, but maybe not that one individual, but we could be a little bit more understanding.
No, absolutely. My grace, my left unity is being quiet when they say stuff like that and just kind of silently being shocked and not like yelling at them.
Yeah. Ooh, that was that's something.
This was good to be on. I hope you enjoy your next call. Bye, Matt.
Have a good night. Great call though, Ren. We'll take I got a few super chats to read. We'll take like one or two more calls. Drop your super chats, your Twitch streams. Let's see what happened over on Twitch. Looney Tunes 9000 resubscribed for 2 months at tier 1. They've been a subscriber for 14 months. Thank you so much, Looney Tunes. And got raided by Boston Brian Live. Thank you so much, Boston Brian. Appreciate the raid. Let's see. We got some calls coming in. 308. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, 308 hung up? What? Hey, 308. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Michael with the Cuomo campaign for mayor. We were looking to see if we could get your vote.
Wow. Hey, Michael from the Cuomo campaign. Maybe. Can you tell me a little bit more about what Andrew Cuomo is running on?
I, for legal reasons, cannot.
Oh. Can you tell me maybe when Cuomo is going to announce? Because it's getting pretty close. What's he waiting for?
Legally, no.
Oh, okay. What's Cuomo planning on running on? Like, what's his platform?
On being Italian.
Oh, you know what? Then I gotta say he's got my vote.
Fantastic. That is 3 votes.
I from your lips to God's ears, but he's got way more than he's gonna be a problem. He's gonna be a problem for sure. But why am I telling you this? You work for the Cuomo campaign.
We also agree he is a problem. just none of us are getting paid.
Well,
all right, the facade must come off. I know. It's
what?
actually Kowalski.
What? No, shut up.
Yeah. So
this is not Kowalski. Shut up.
Hey, at least you have a mayor. I have a county commissioner.
Well, does your county commissioner get paid?
Yes.
Okay, because I know there's in a lot of towns, the mayor job is like a volunteer position, right?
Not where I'm at exactly, but I know what you're talking about. But I don't have a mayor to live in a city like a sellout.
Wait, Bob, we live in I guess the city is right. Mayor's for a city, right? You don't live in a city, right?
Yeah, no. There's too many people in the cities. That's where all the crime is. I don't know about you, but I would prefer not to live in the crime. Nothing bad has ever happened in rural America. Do not watch a horror movie.
Right. Well, you don't even need to watch. I mean, a lot of real life, you just don't hear about it because you're not living in a major a metropolitan area that has 20 different major media apparatuses covering everything inside of it.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. You don't hear about what's going on, the crime in rural areas like you do in the city, because those rural areas don't have their own ABC, NBC, CBS, etc. affiliates all reporting on the same crimes that happen in every town USA.
That is true. I guess the biggest thing we've got is when a tornado decides to attack, then everybody just, you go see what the tornado did. It's just us versus God out here, not man versus man. Way more simple.
Right.
But speaking of horrible things, I wanted to bring something to your attention that I am keeping an eye on. That I think it really encapsulates the doom of the era we're in. I mean, it's like 2027 or something, right?
I know it's not 2027 because that's the year that my shirt, NYCFC, the New York's MLS soccer team, that's the year their official stadium, the first ever soccer stadium in New York City, is going to open up. So it's definitely not 2027. But
all right,
you could have fooled me. You could have fooled me.
Well, with the speed that things are going, I have found a little nugget of information that I think is pretty horrifying, especially given that I did not anticipate the Republicans actually passing that bill through the House yesterday, where they're just going to straight up take on Medicaid, just gut it.
Right. Well,
I honestly thought.
Could have gone either way.
Most people, when you present them a bowl of cyanide, don't just start eating them. I mean, usually self-preservation kicks in at some point. But
that you must not have heard about the modern Republican Party that rejects science and vaccines and anything like that. You tell them they can't digest cyanide, and they're gonna go, "Oh, why can't I? Give me that cyanide."
But as a farmer, I must admit, I have different interests than you city folk, and one of them is the EPA. Now, I know what you're thinking.
Oh, I
Doesn't
care
the
for
EPA...
I care for the EPA, but go ahead. You probably have a little bit more direct skin in the game, but we all got skin in the game there.
Well, yeah. Well, it has to do with what the EPA enforces. The EPA enforces the renewable fuel standard, which is the ethanol mix in our gasoline. Ethanol makes up about 15% of all gasoline in the United States. And by law, the EPA mandates this because it's part of our way to lower emissions and meet some environmental standards. Now, if the EPA goes away, which it looks like it is going to get about 60% of its funding taken away, it might not be able to continue enforcing this program. And if you read Project 2025, they are very antagonistic towards ethanol, and they really want to expand oil production. Now, the United States is the largest producer of oil in the world. We're the largest consumer, and we're the largest exporter. In fact, we export so much oil, we actually cannot export more. There are no more boats. We have filled every tanker that you could fill. So, yeah, the only way you could possibly increase oil consumption
Gotta build more boats.
well, we don't build boats anymore.
Right, yeah,
But
we gotta.
you
Well,
could.
Trump's gonna make that change, right? We're gonna start building boats again, folks.
We should be building boats again. But the issue that I see is if you were to eliminate ethanol, then oil could make up that additional 15% of the domestic production, which sounds decent in theory, except ethanol uses about 45% of all our domestically produced cereal grains, corn and soybeans. So if this were to occur, that means no grain farmer would be profitable in the Midwest. Basically, the entire area from Buffalo, New York to Denver, all of those farms would start operating in the red. And it's not even close. And before some people think that, well, isn't ethanol a scam? Shouldn't it have to stand without subsidies and all this? Well, it's a tax credit subsidy, so you technically don't pay on the front end. And oil gets way more subsidies than ethanol ever could for a lot of reasons. So we actually wouldn't be saving any money because oil is already subsidized. But then on the other end of that, you would impoverish about 250,000 farmers in the United States. And in the Project 2025, they're also calling for cutting the crop insurance subsidies, which is what the government pays people who get hailed out or wind blows your crops over and whatnot. So it's looking like there will be a lot of angry farmers if this goes through. And initially, I did not think that this would be something to worry about until the vote yesterday, where they started eating the cyanide pills.
Right.
Because, you would think something quite this disruptive. Now, I don't personally think they would intentionally do this. I just think they're so incompetent they'll do this without realizing it and then probably try to go back on it and cause a bunch of damage. But yeah, that's a big issue that I see. That and just broadly, any disruptions with the EPA is going to be detrimental to our rivers and streams. So,
do you so you feel like this is going to be something that they're going to have no problem getting through? Like they're going to, you don't think there's going to be that moment where they're like, hold on, this is going to be bad for, in just 2 years?
not just 2 years. The issue with agriculture in particular is our job is very seasonal. So if they did this now, that impacts prices in the fall, which impacts our current ability to get financing through banks. So as soon as they mess with the EPA, it would be an instantaneous disruption to us.
No,
So,
I mean 2 years for them to feel the consequences because the midterms.
I don't know, because right now a lot of farmers are highly leveraged, and the issue you're dealing with is that farmers are maybe cash poor, but they're asset rich and have the potential to make a lot of noise if you piss them off. I think if they did it, which isn't certain because, they're going to be taking a lot of heat for going after Medicaid. But if they do this, and this is one of those things that could possibly break farmers off into being an independent voting base as opposed to basically solid conservative, which would be a very interesting political shift to see happen. But my issue is that a lot of these farmers, the majority of American farmers, are now in their late 50s. They're nearing retirement, and you would basically impoverish them before they have a chance to make any money to retire on. And those people would get desperate, and then they would do a lot of very desperate things. People who have resources, which is a very violent thing to consider because, well, farmers were the ones who basically sparked off the Syrian civil war. So
I don't know if America's got it in them.
I don't know.
I don't think America's got it in them.
You mean to cut off the program, or these people to get violent?
For them to do what needs to be done.
I don't know. Have you ever seen the people when the bank tries to come for their land? I mean, that's usually where you see a lot of desperation, and you're talking about a population of 250,000. You don't have to have a large percentage of them to go off
let's
the
put
rails.
it this way. I don't think the farmers of America have got it in them to do something about it if the Republicans come at them like that. And I dare them to prove me wrong.
You know what? We will prove you wrong.
Oh, yep. Well, Kowalski, let me ask you a question. Actually, do you have chickens on your farm? Do you do eggs on your farm?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I was about to ask you, could you give me the egg hookup? Because I'm dying over here. The egg prices, man. What?
Actually, you might not want to get any eggs from the Great Plains for a while, because a lot of those bird
is that
barns
where the
that are
bird flu,
impacted-
the center of it all?
Well, there's a lot of them in Kansas, and the issue we're dealing with right now is, do you know what the sandhill cranes are?
No.
Canadian geese. So every year, right around now, millions of birds, the sandhill cranes, migrate from like Texas, Mexico, New Mexico, Arizona, and they all fly north. They all go straight through Kansas, and then they land here where I'm at in Nebraska on a 50-mile stretch of the Platte River. Millions of these birds all congregating in one place for about 3 weeks. So if there's any disease that birds can pick up, and they pick it up, they will then take this straight into Saskatchewan and Alberta, Canada. And then the Canadians will be suffering the bird flu. So it could get interesting. But as for now, I have eggs. It's fine.
How much are eggs by you? Like how
I
much?
don't know. I don't pay attention when I go grocery shopping. I'm a man of means.
Just interesting to see how this is affected. Because over here they're like $9, man. Like it's crazy.
I want to say a dozen and a half are around $7.50 now. So not terrible, but we're also closer to the supply.
Right. Well, Kowalski, I appreciate the call. I appreciate from everything from the beginning with your Cuomo call to sharing how
hold
there'll
on.
be.
Before I go, I did want to just quickly go through the last 15,000 years of the evolution of agriculture. So it all started when a man really wanted some beer. I'm joking with you.
I think people would really listen to this. Honestly, I was ready to sit down and really take it all in. That doesn't sound as boring as you might have think you were trying to sound. I was ready for it.
Oh, wait. Okay. Actually, this is a debate, and I want your opinion on it just because you are an unbiased person and very trustworthy. So, we still are not sure why we developed agriculture. So, there are two theories. One, we did it for bread. The other was we did it for beer. Which do you think it was?
I want to say beer just because it feels right, but it's probably bread.
Well, it's a debate. We don't know. I
Right,
personally
right.
am leaning towards beer too because I think it makes more sense from a celebratory standpoint.
I
But
I
I
th-
don't
I
know.
think I think beer makes sense because we're coming at it thinking like, well, of course. Think about what people are, it's America, but I feel like it more naturally probably was like we gotta eat.
Yeah, maybe. But all right, I'll
Could
leave
go
you
either
with that
way.
one. I
Could
want.
go either way. But I didn't know this was a
It
debate.
really
I didn't.
could,
I didn't.
but I
I
mean,
didn't know this
like,
was a debate. I didn't know it
it
was a
is a
thing.
debate. We may never know the answer to this. We all thought agriculture started 10,000 years ago. It might have been 20, and we were just really bad at it for the first 10,000 years.
Wow. What could we
See?
possibly been doing so bad 10,000 years ago? Like what? What's
Oh,
the?
the reason actually is kind of timely. It was because we didn't have stable climate. The climate didn't stabilize until about
Oh,
6,500 years
right.
ago. So
Interesting.
before that, you could plant crops, and they just get wiped out in a freak storm. There'd be nothing you
Wow.
could do about it.
Thank God we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine if we did something so catastrophically stupid as to make our weather patterns, which used to be so easy that we literally had almanacs that would tell us what the weather would do
We'd
decades
be
in advance?
we'd be fucking stupid. Oh,
We
Kowalski,
live in historic times. Good night, everyone.
have a great night. All right, folks, I'll take one more call. Oh, they hung up. I think that'll be it then. Let's go to the. Oh wait, all right, one last call. This is the final call of the night. 438. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Matt, finally. I was your first call. It glitched out. And then I didn't. I
Perfect,
didn't
perfect.
get it.
I wasn't sure if I didn't remember what the area code was. I'm glad that you got through. What's up? What did they talk about?
Firstly, I think you know who I am, right?
No idea. Who are you?
Osama.
I'm joking, of course. How you doing?
Yeah, so you'll do it with everyone, every caller. I forget.
Yeah,
I don't know who you are.
Who the hell are you?
Okay.
So what's up?
Firstly, I think you should make a post-it note or like write a diary or something to so you can talk to like the people in leftist mafia. Because I was telling Annie this as well. Good luck with the email. I've been trying for months.
I will. Yes, I'm sorry. Right. But go ahead.
It's all good. In the beginning, I was going to talk more. I guess I can truncate stuff. There is a funny story that's not related to. I guess it is related to politics, but in a stupid way. I watch anime, right? And someone was talking about a show called Frieren, which apparently has demons. And these demons aren't like demons from hell. They're just a species. And they're just evil for no reason, apparently. I don't know. I didn't watch the show. But someone was talking about it. And I made a comment that this sounds fascist. Not really important. The show isn't important at all. What's funny is that for some reason, all the these fascists like anime, right? They started crying about it, and it became this big thing. Then I started like muting them so they stopped bothering me. Then someone sends me, there's a Reddit thread on it, hundreds of like more than 1,000 posts or whatever. Okay, that's weird, whatever. Then there's a YouTube video on it. Some YouTuber made who has like 800K subscribers made a short that now has like almost 1 million views. And then I'm like, okay, why is this still going on? Then those weird like bot account, those weird accounts that want to make money on X.
Right.
They just one of them just like 5 days later, like made a post. I'm like, why do these people cry so much? I just made one offhanded comment, and it's like
the perpetual victims. Everything's an attack on them, and they need to let you know how offended.
Yeah, they were like the YouTuber was like, I know he's making money. He doesn't probably care about anything. Like this show is getting canceled. Apparently, I have the power to cancel shows now with one comment on a social media.
You had no idea, did you?
I know there's freaks because I like anime, and I'm saddened that a part of my community is like these freaks that are fascist or like pedophile-ish, like because they're very weird about like drawn children. Like it's called loli. It's very weird.
Oh, I know all about these weirdos and what they're.
Yeah. Oh yeah, anyone who.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, none of these people have any like real world concerns.
No, they don't. They live. It's. I'm used to this from like the beginnings of Gamergate. Like, they talked about they were friggin' like the 300 Spartans fighting for their survival, and it's over getting their favorite video game getting a bad review, or a video game they didn't like getting a good review. But they're talking about it like they're like fucking storming the beaches of Normandy or something. Like,
but like to make it a bit more of a broader point, I think that's the problem. Like America has is like they're still well fed, right? A lot of these people, they don't have like any material needs that aren't met in that way, at least. And I think that's why America doesn't like, or a lot of the West in general, but America specifically doesn't have the source or like that drive to do actual like fascism or actual revolution in either direction, because these people are just lazy and want to cry about media and all that other stuff. They're not like dedicated, like at least the majority of them. They're not dedicated enough to be on board with the entire project of like deporting millions of people and like being that cruel to the most they'll do is like report someone to the police maybe and make a video or something. Like there are videos, of course, of them going after Muslims or other immigrants or whatever, and that's I think the best they'll do. But on the other side, I don't think they have it in them for like a proper like resistance movement as well. So it's just a very weird kind of techno bureaucratic fascism that the US has. Like Canada, for example, after what Trump said, right? They stopped buying American products, and it became a whole thing of like, we're not buying American, and they're booing in hockey games and everything. I don't think Americans could do that to another country if they were in a similar situation.
Right.
Like I know Sean Fain is trying to get the general strike in 2028, and if you want a serious general strike, that's how much planning you need to do, at least like years and years in advance.
Yes, that's what I think is really smart about it. The problem is it is far away, but I mean, this should have been planned, but that he wasn't in the position to do that. But so yeah, this is we'll see how it turns out, but yes, it takes a lot.
Yeah, because these days, who knows what happens in 4 years? We might be like, oh, Pakistan and India are fighting in a hot war now. Why? I don't know. Something happened in Kashmir. I don't know.
I mean, that's
who knows?
As you know, that's certainly not the worst case scenario I could think of.
No, that's just the start. It could be, okay, so Trump for some reason decided to attack China. Like that could happen. Who knows? Like just fight China for no reason. We don't know. It could happen.
Yeah.
Or like Canada and the US are actually fighting a war, and then Mexico's on our side and China's helping Canada.
I don't imagine anyone's going to be on our side, honestly.
Russia.
I don't imagine anyone.
Right. Russia Israel, Hungary.
Like maybe
No, in name, like China doesn't help Russia, right? In Ukraine, they're just in name, sort of like, okay, you're kind of a bother, you're annoying us. Why are you doing this? But also we don't like the U.S., so maybe we'll support you. That type of
right,
thing.
yeah, that's the thing. Anything to take down, yeah. And you know what? It is what it is. Is how what they do that, then we should have seen it coming with the way things are going.
He is isolating everyone. Like he's going after Europe now, right? Because he went after Canada, and that's the annoying thing is that for not for us, because he's not putting tariffs on, so that's good for us. But he's making companies like he just keeps delaying and delaying and delaying. So he is not getting any of the benefits from that, but also he's making like people uncomfortable, and those people are basically just going to move away from the US as well, like the companies and everything, because they're like, we don't know what the hell is this guy is doing. So instead of like importing steel from Canada and building stuff in the US, why don't we just build stuff in Canada or Mexico or something? The other stuff is the insane funding thing that passed the House, like 4.5 trillion tax cuts or whatever.
Oh yeah, the funding we should say is everyone gets cuts. Everyone's services gets cuts, except for the very wealthy who get their tax breaks. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's such a high number that they claim they could do like 2 trillion cut on the other way in 10 years, but that would just mean like even if they cut Medicare, Medicaid completely, and then even like steal from Social Security, I don't think they can make 2 trillion back from that.
Yeah. No.
Plus, they're gonna buy because it's an oligarchy. They're gonna buy from companies at a rate that's not like even retail. That's what they're gonna be. That's what the military-industrial complex does, is right. It buys stuff that's way higher than the retail rate would be, even if they're like specialized crews or whatever that people talk about.
Yeah.
It's still like 10, 20, 30, 40, sometimes even 100 times more than it should be.
Right.
So I guess the best case scenario is that Americans do have some revolt in them, because it seems like you might be in a depression in 2 months or something. Like, who knows?
Yeah, it's certainly possible, without a doubt.
Because what's the inflation? 6%, right? And somehow, like yearly inflation, not even monthly.
Yeah, right.
How did the US was, even after pandemic and everything, was like in the 4s, like 4.2, 4.8, maybe the most. And it's suddenly like 1 month after there, it's 6%, and that's the yearly.
Yeah.
And that's not happened that didn't happen in 2008, did it? Or did it? I don't remember. That's not happened in
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember that one, but.
And the only silver lining again is that it's helping us. The liberals, I think, in some polls are above the conservatives now.
Yeah, that's.
And I was making fun of the, like, I can get as many eggs as I want, and then Kowalski says, "Oh, the birds are going to bring it to Canada." So I'm like, "Shut up, Kowalski." Shut up.
Yeah.
I hope the geese don't bring bird flu to Canada.
Whoa! You guys should like block off the.
I mean, we do have a system at least. Like right now, at least we have a functioning government, unlike the U.S.
Yeah.
The other thing was did you see the cabinet meeting where? I don't know why cabinet meeting was. Is that common for cabinet meetings to be on with like cameras and everything? Because I thought those were supposed to be behind doors, closed doors.
I honestly don't even remember.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Have I ever seen have I ever heard of like Obama or Biden or like maybe like when they got rid of Osama bin Laden, maybe they did something in public for a bit, but and then Musk is just standing over everyone. and then Trump's in the cuck chair. And Musk is just waffling.
Musk was taking control as if it was his show.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Like, it's something that's like not a thing that happens even in like poor countries where at least the dictator is the strongest man, right? He runs and he's the one that's the strongest. Like, there's no one like standing behind Putin who's like the puppet master or whatever, right? Like at least in public. Maybe there's someone in the back, I don't know, but at least as far as we know, Putin is the strongest oligarch in Russia, and he's the one that's in the chair and doing stuff.
Right.
And the same with Orban or like Modi or whatever. So Trump just got elected, and Trump we knew has a massive ego, but has just given everything up to Musk. It's insane. Like, how was Trump that much in debt or something? Like, how?
I mean, I do wonder what's going on there in terms of like people around Trump have got to be like telling him like what's going on here. But at the same time, maybe it is a specific ploy here to basically utilize Musk being so front and center, so he takes all the heat.
Yeah, but this makes Trump look like the Trump's strongest points with his own base is.
I am surprised.
This makes Trump look so weak.
I am surprised he doesn't care about that, or at least he's trying not to care about that. But
yeah, like Trump said, I think in the meeting, something like, if you have a problem with Musk, we'll fire him. Like, I don't know if he meant we'll fire them or if we'll fire him. It could be either way because of how he's behaving. Like, if you don't like the Musk, we'll fire you from the cabinet. Is a thing that's possible. And the kid Trump's was saying in that other meeting at the White House was like, "You're not the president, get out," or something like that.
It's unclear what the kid said, but like, yeah. But I really have not sort of been able to gauge exactly what's going on there yet. It's clear that they both might find. Was that?
I think it is the age of oligarchs. I think the other oligarchs are just smart enough not to be there front and center.
Yeah.
But it is bad. Like, I guess Trump's gonna die soon, anyways. Like, and they don't care about laws. Maybe they'll try to get Musk to be or maybe I don't know. Because JD Vance doesn't exist.
Yeah,
he's a non-factor.
He really disappeared. Like, they don't even pretend. It's pretty
Maybe
incredible.
Peter Thiel thought that he'd have more influence, and then Peter Thiel is kind of mad as well that this other wing just took over.
He's there.
Everything.
I'm sure they're not angry. He's there. Like, he's.
Yeah, but they don't like each other either, right? Like, they get together for their own tax breaks or whatever. But
who knows? I can't really tell
because
how much
they're like lords at this point. Like, the different lords didn't like each other and were all just politicking.
Right.
And then you get this incompetent king that everyone knows is incompetent, and you just need to get into his ear.
Right. Well, Usama, I gotta jump. It's getting a little bit late.
Of course. One last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
For you, if you're not paying attention to wrestling, this Saturday there's the Elimination Chamber, and everything else is fun, but it's not as important. It's going to be Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens in an unsanctioned match, and Kevin Owens did a pile driver to Sami Zayn, which hurt his neck. So that's the story. They couldn't sanction it because he's hurt, and Sami Zayn still wants to fight. And we know how good those two are, so you wouldn't want to miss that one.
I'll have to check it out. I totally forgot Elimination Chamber was this
that's why I reminded you.
Thank you for that.
Just the Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, if not everything else.
And the Elimination Chamber
have
matches the Elimination Chamber matches should be good too. All right, have a good night, Osama.
Have a good one. Bye.
Always a pleasure to talk with Osama and all the regular callers. Let me get to the super chat. Oh, over on Twitch, Tokyo Hans resubscribed for 10 months at tier 1. Subscriber for 31 months. Just want to get this in before the boycott thing. Thank you, Tokyo. All right, let's go to the YouTube super chats. Tokyo Hans again here, gifted 5 YouTube memberships. Thank you, Tokyo Hans. A cab includes Tone Police with a membership super chat. Matt, did you see the video of the Canadian punk singer that kicked the crap out of someone that did a Nazi salute? I did see that video. I forgot the name of the band, but very good. Good to see. Normalize that. Tokyo Hans with a super chat. The economic blackout starts on my B-day. None of the B-day of my B-day money is going to these companies. Very good. Happy birthday, Tokyo. Mariah with a super chat, $10 super chat. How you doing, Mariah? Hello to my friend Matt Binder. I like your hoodie. What does it say? It says NYCFC, New York City Football Club. It's the New York's MLS team. By the way, I have rewatched you and Jared's old QAnon movie stream multiple times. It provides a strange sense of nostalgia and comfort. Oh wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that was during the early days of the pandemic, right? We did the whole watch through of that QAnon movie. I remember that. Wow. You watched that multiple times? That's crazy. That's awesome to hear. Charlie the Ginimer with a super chat. Dem leadership kind of acting like the mayor from Jaws. Why? Tokyo Hans with another super chat. Japan is nice. $2 for a 10-pack of eggs. I wonder if I can start a black market into the U.S. You probably could. Charlie the Ginimer with another super chat. We need to pressure Washington State Senator Anita Cleveland in the state Senate to bring a vote to the Senate floor. Check out wholewashington.org. Kowalski with the coffee super sticker. I appreciate that, Kowalski. You might have been able to tell that I needed that at for maybe the past 30 minutes or so. I've been getting tired. I felt bad. And Renee with 2 super chats in a row here. The age of the epic is over. Sick Kim will rise again. All right, folks. I appreciate your super chats, your support. Don't forget, if you can, patreon.com/Matt Binder, disruptionist.com, youtube.com/Matt Binder, twitch.tv/Matt Binder. I'll be on the Majority Report tomorrow. I'll be on Leftist Mafia tomorrow. And who should I rate on Twitch really quick? Who should I raid? Who's on? I'm just gonna check. Let's see. Who's on? What do you all think? All right, Riverboat Jack. I'll raid Riverboat Jack. All right, everyone. Have a great night. And I will see you all next time on Doomed.